that, and then let's close the session. Great work. Let's continue.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, last time we saw what is Selenium, what it does, what are different browsers it supports, like Firefox, Chrome, and then we saw how to identify the objects. So how to run a basic test script running. So we saw the advantages of Selenium and disadvantages of Selenium. The advantage was open source. You can identify the objects on very fast. You can run on both we have operating system like Windows and Mac. Plus it has its own pros and cons. Some of the cons are like it does not have a framework to run. For example, I have multiple scripts like script 1, script 2, script 3. It has no option to select which script I want to run. Again, it has lacking the feature of reporting. Reporting is a must part. So that reporting part is missing. And generating a logs. Again, if you want to do like if you have 100 test cases, if you run this sequential order, it takes more time. The parallel test execution option is missing in Selenium. Again, use of property files, read and write Excel data from Excel file. Those things are missing. In order to overcome that, there are some open source framework available. That's one of the framework is called TESTNG. This is widely used TESTNG framework. Okay, so with the test support TESTNG, we can able to club the test cases. We can pick and choose which test case we want. Like either I want to select script 1 and script 4, and then run the test on various browsers. I can do that. I want to run in parallel execution with the help of TESTNG. I can do that. With TESTNG, we can able to generate reports too. So that's a basic about TESTNG. There's a website you can follow to get more info. The TESTNG website is a website. You go to testng.doc, it gives you beautiful information, how to get started, how to download. So let's get started, practical example. So I have created a Java project. Can you all see my screen, right? So in order to have a TESTNG project, first select a project and then go to, I have used IntelliJ as an IDE. Go to settings, in the plugins, you have to select TESTNG, create XML plugin. Since I have already created, install, it says is already installed. Once you select, it gets installed. So in order to create this as a TESTNG project, okay, for example, I write a test class. First TESTNG. We have created a class. Create a TESTNG class. You have to select this, right click. See here, you see the option create testng.xml. This way you can able to convert a test class into TESTNG XML. Click on this is how it gets generated. It has so test group classes. We'll come back to on this later on. Let's work on this TESTNG framework. So in order to execute TESTNG, basically it follows a sequence. In generally, we have test plans and test cases, but in TESTNG, it has called tests, test method, suite, test, and classes. It follows a certain order of execution. First, it goes at the before suite, then it goes to before test, before class, before method, at test, where actual options we are going to happen. After that, again, it's scaling down. After method, after class, after test, and after test suite. See, you must be knowing why do we need this order. because, for example, before we start testing, we want to make sure our database is up and running. Do that. Either we can set this up at before suite or before test, so that our database is up and running for executing our test. Again, before method, we can have our browser up and running. At the test method, we can have a test for login. Launch a browser and enter username and password. These things can be done at the test level. Again, once the test is executed, you want to clean up what you have created. You can have a after method, after class, like sign out. Once everything is done, you can have a close browser. So that you have to execute once, you don't have to write again and again. That's a main advantage of these annotation. I'll show you by a practical example. For example, here, see, it has before suite is an annotation. How can it can be done is, first it has at if all the built-in parameters available before test suite. All right, public void, little bit Java background. What is the public? What is void? Again, next, what we have before public means anyone can access it. Void is nothing but is not going to return anything. For class. Void. Method name can be anything you can give of your choice. Just for my understanding, I'm giving. For class. Then we have another annotation called before method. It is quite intuitive enough. See, whatever I select, it gets added, imported, specific method. So that we just have to import it. We don't have to write any code. Method. Then here at test. Here we are doing actual execution. Public void login. If I run this, let's see what it is, how it gets executed. It follows all the sequential order what we have done. This is how he has done it. First, before suite, before test, before class, before method, before log. That's if you want to know more details about specific annotation, click on the specific class. So what are the things built in? What are the interfaces it has? What it has been doing? If you want to need to know more details. Okay. Also, that's about the different annotations available in TESTNG. Also, it has a beautiful feature called you want to select any specific test case, like you can prioritize a test case, like you want to enable or disable. If I want to disable this test case, I just have to do is enable equals false. If I do use this particular test case won't be get executed, because in real-time scenarios, what happens is sometimes a specific test case is failing. Due to that, your CI/CD pipeline is red, but developer wants it should be green. At that time, the test case is failing because of a bug. Either way, you can log a bug and you can disable this specific test case so that CI/CD pipeline can be green. So you can use this feature of enable this test case equals false. If I run this, I will save it and try to execute. See, this particular method won't get executed. It will execute only these before test suite, before test, before class annotation methods. See, it executes only these two, before suite and before test. It didn't execute these two, before class and a test method. That's the beauty of using this annotation enable equals false. Also, right now I have only one test case. Make it true. Other way of executing this specific test class is go to the TESTNG file and then give this name, new test class. Go to TESTNG file, give this name, class name. See here you can look at the structure of this TESTNG in the file. First you have suite, I give suite name. Then you see test. Groups, I'll come to groups next later on. Then you have classes in that in this we specify the class, and then again is coming down again end of the class, end of the test, end of the test suite. Right. Let's run this. From usually what we do is in a CI/CD pipeline, we run our test cases using TESTNG file. See, from here we execute these test cases. Also, if you okay, right now I have only one method. For example, I have more methods. An example is I have to check out. Another method called select a book. Select a item. Okay. We want to make while execution, we want to make sure we should follow the specific pattern. What we have to do is either way we can use, they are called two parameters, depends or priority. First, it should log in. Usually in general scenario, what you have first, you launch a browser, which is covered at before test method, launch a browser, log in. This should be first step. Second step should be select an item. Then you should go to checkout. What happens if I log in and goes to checkout? Test case will fail because there is no item. So in order to do that, another way we can do is something called priority. Priority equals. Here we specify priority equals 1. Again. Okay, sorry, select an item should be checkout should be 3. And then priority equals In this particular sequence, we can execute our test cases by using the term priority. Let's run it. Now the sequence will be, okay. This will be loaded. Now the sequence of test execution will be login, select an item, and then checkout. See here? First, it will start from before test suite, test, before test, class, before method. You got a login, then it comes before method. Again, select item, again before method, and then checkout. That's the execution it follows. That's about the various priority. Also, it has something called grouping. For example, okay, TESTNG. Right, group by, okay. Sometimes, okay, here's an example. I have n number of test cases. There are different tags. Okay, for example, at the middle of the, before the build is released to the development team, from development to QA team, what we do is we do a smoke level test execution. So in order to do that, we tag the specific test case as a smoke. Once smoke is passed, then we move on to regression test cases execution. So the good feature of TESTNG is which it allows us to group the test cases. For example, we use a name called group tag and assign as a smoke level test case. Again, we can say some test case as regression. Okay. Right now we have 2 smoke and 2 regression test cases. We can go to TESTNG. We can group these test cases. These are the parameters available in TESTNG. It's quite user friendly. I can show you how it is being done. First, you get one. Press, it gives a group. Again, in groups, you have something called run. You want to run, right? Select the parameter run. In run, it allows you can include, give the name. What you want, smoke and regression. That's how you can able to group your test cases. Now, what I have done is I have grouped, I want to run only smoke level test case and exclude regression test cases. So what I just need to give the name, class name as, I'll select group by test cases. Run this. Now what is doing is only the group, the tag which has smoke, only those test case gets executed. See, this has a smoke, has a tag, this particular test case got executed. Setup. This method has a tag smoke, only this got executed. See, regression didn't got executed. That's the beauty of grouping a test cases. This is quite helpful in a real-time scenario. Also, for example, we have we have one test case one script. Two. So this is a scenario I have. If I run this real-time scenario, like I want to run in sequential order, script 1 and script 2, it will take more time. So in order to overcome that, TESTNG supports to run these two scripts in parallel. So in order to run these two scripts in parallel, TESTNG has something called to run tag and then invocation and a thread count.
Hi, Otto.
Sorry,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to stop for a second so they can do the survey?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll share my screen to show them, and then you can go back after 5 minutes.
Yep.
Your session. Okay.
Thank you very much, Nikki.
Yeah.
Team, like I mentioned, right? We are a non-profit. We do this program for free, and we have to really report our good work to the government, at least the city of Brampton. So we kindly request all of you to take a couple of minutes to fill up the survey. And the survey link is also available in the Microsoft Teams, what Mickey is showing. And those who do not have our Microsoft Team access yet, the survey link is also posted in the chat window of this particular session. You can click that and fill up the survey.
And yeah, so it's encoded on, and then you just click the drop down and fill. And then it's right there.
Okay, let's take some time to fill up this quickly. Ashwin, Maria, and everyone, please. Thank you for your help. Abdul, if you can also fill it up.
Yep.
Ashwin, if you are searching for the link, I posted it again in the chat window. You can click that.
Right. After whenever you're done, you can share your screen and continue.
Yeah. Okay. Before I was talking about parallel execution. Why do we need parallel execution? So in real-time scenarios, if you have 100 scripts and you want to run in sequential order, it will take more time, because if you want to run the same 100 scripts on more than one browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, IE, it takes more time. So in order to avoid that, TESTNG provides parallel execution. So they use a concept called parallel and thread. Thread is nothing but it's a thread. If we have enabled as a parallel and thread count as 3, what happens? One thread will take script 1 and second thread will go take script 2 and start executing it. For example, if we have more than 2 scripts, if we specify thread as 3 or 2, after 1 and 2 gets executed, whichever thread is available, then it picks up the third test script. That's a theoretical stuff. Now let's see the practical example. Okay. I'll delete the grouping part. So those options are available at the suite level, since always parallel execution occurs at suite level. So we give the properties as parallel equals, it provides either you can go by classes or method. I select classes. And thread count. I'll say so I'll indicate all the classes available. Testing first. Next is new test. The test. Test. Let me start. Let's run it sequentially. Let's see how it behaves. I know it's quite small. If run sequentially, see, it's executing one by one. I have a test case. What it's doing is it's launching a browser in Chrome. Then once that is done, it is launching a browser in Firefox. Okay. Right. So it got executed one by one. So in order to make it faster, in order to better batch, what we do is we save it as, we enable parallel execution. Let's see how it does behave. I'll start executing this script. Once I give parallel classes and then set count as 2. Now what it does is all the classes will start execute at one time instead of sequential. So you can see everything got started. Chrome, Firefox. That's the cool thing about TestNG parallel execution. Also, now with respect to reporting, it has a built-in feature that's called something called listener. With the help of listener class, we can able to generate reports. For example, once all the execution is done, it gives email level reports. Right click, open with browser. With this way, it tells you how many pass, how many fail. You can see, you can come back and see premium, username, password. I'm just giving you just high level scenario how the report looks like. Also, it has something another feature called failed test cases. For example, we are running 100 test cases overnight. Some test cases are failing, might be due to network traffic, might be browser is slow or system is slow. So we want to run. We don't know why the failed test cases are failing, either because of network issue or the real issue. Before reporting a bug, we want to make sure it is a defect. Now, either you have choice to run all the 100 test case and see, or TESTNG provides something called TESTNG-fail.xml. What it does is it will have only failed test cases, so that we just have to select this and run it. Only the failed test case will get executed. That's a good advantage of listener class in TESTNG. Then with respect to reporting, there's something called Allure report. This it is open source reporting tool. It generates the reports after execution. It is quite what it does is it provides a see. This is how the report looks like. If you select how many pass, how many fail, it tells you to categorize, right? Add to cart, login, browser setup. Also, sometimes if you want, you can enable the image also. It duration. Yeah, that's about Allure report. Next, I want to talk about we saw different parameters, TESTNG, and then we discussed about dependency, priority. This assertion is used for something called you want to verify a value, whether a specific value is getting displayed or not. Yeah. Again, page object model. Okay, that's something as another topic I want to cover about page object model. Page object model is nothing but a framework, is a pattern. I can say that, which allows us to organize our test cases in a specific manner. For example, we have in the base, we have only pages. If you look at this page, we'll organize this page into different classes. For example, we have home page. We call this a home page class. If you click on bestseller, this we call this a bestseller page. We'll capture all the functionality in a specific class, all the elements into specific class, all the applicable methods or function features will be into one specific class. That's the advantage of going for page object model. We are organizing it. Also, we can go for utilities class. It's in a separate where we specify we want to read Excel file. Again, test configuration, because we try to avoid hard coding a value in the code so that it will read the value from a specific file. Server name, then utilities. Again, we have something called test package in that we will store our test classes. See, this method, we pass this our name, username and password. Base test, create a contest. I'm just giving an example of a page object model, how it is being configured. There are a lot of open source. I'll show you one website. If you want to practice, you want to know more about. If you go to this website, it is quite helpful. Someone has created has done a lot of effort on creating what is framework, BDD framework, page object model concept. You can download and see it how it has been implemented for your reference. Next is something called BDD, behavior-driven development. Behavior-driven development is a new topic, is in the market, is quite picking up. The main advantage is this framework can be used, understood by BAs, stakeholders, so that because the scripts are written in plain English, you have feature file and then step definition file. But it is, this is a website you can go to and you get all the information related to Cucumber. Currently, I'm using Cucumber in Java. So before it was open source, now also is open source. So it tells you can download, learn BDD. See, this is how it looks like basically. What is the feature and then scenario. Here, the like describe a behavior, write a step definition, run, write code to make a step pass and pass. This is typical flow. Again, do we really need BDD? That's this will give you the high level scenario. Why do we need to go for BDD? Like it's testing based on user scenarios. If your TDD depends on test cases, BDD it focus on how the application behave from user perspective. Scenarios written on plain English, and then it collaborates between all the stakeholders. Currently, there are two tools. One is Cucumber, is open source, is specifically used for Java, and then SpecFlow is a paid version. You have both paid and free version. Is basically used with Microsoft technologies as a C#. That's about TDD. I'll show you one example how the BDD looks like. This high-level example of a BDD framework. This is developed on Eclipse. It will have a feature file. Will be creating a feature file. This what I'm saying here is background. I'm saying go to a specific website and see whether a specific customer is hungry or not. Here's a test scenario. It allows a tag, means that we can specify which test case can be executed or not. Then here is a scenario where I want to put in area specific area and search for a restaurant, and I should see some restaurant in a specific area. These things can be parameterized. But click on this. Really should good navigate. I don't know. Okay, since my system is hanging, I'm running a lot of application. Yeah. That's about, okay, let's see. Goes to specific step definition file. I'm here. If I click, so that we can use the same method again and again. See, all these are parameterized. Area code, you can give any value. There's a cool thing about BDD. Then more, if you do hands-on, I can cover more topics, how to write a scenario outline. Yeah, that's about TESTNG, page object model framework, and BDD framework. I know it's a kind of high level, but at least you'll get a basic understanding. Like at least you can, if you're a manager, if you're interviewing someone is saying what is BDD and TDD, you can able to understand with this intro. So it's open for you for questions. If you have any questions, any feedback, it will be quite helpful. Yes, Kader.
Thank you, Abdul. Wonderful session as always. Thank you everyone for joining. If you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, we can close the session. All right. Looks like we are good, Abdul. Great work. Thanks a lot. And appreciate all the hard work that you have put in to make this program very successful. Thanks a lot for that. Keep doing your good work to help the community. That's what it matters during these difficult times that we are going through. Thanks a lot once again, Abdul, and everyone for joining this session. You all take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.